Two guys, welcome back. So in this video, we're just going to finish up creating our web application. And for this case, we're going to focus on the Jetpack composable part. And for now here, we forgot in the last video here to annotate this with adhered and create view model so that I can tell you that this one is going to be a view model so that it can inject this class also. So besides that, we can just jump in here and create our view model. We can create our UI. So for the case here, we are going to create another class. So for simplicity, just you're not going to create any other packages. We're just going to directly create here another class. So we are going to call this daily as a home. So you can try and create a component, but our UI is just simple. So we're just going to focus on this daily with a home and create all of our screen here. So let's create here another composable. And this one, we are going to call this daily. Okay, now we can start coding here. So we can just create some room here. First, we have to obtain the view model. So we can call this daily with a view model, and then we can initialize this using the view model function. You have to include the dependency which you have provided inside the build.gradle here. You can see we are using lifecycle view model compose in order to access this method. Now, after that, you have to provide this model class. And for this case here, we are going to provide the daily with a view model. And for that case, we can access the view model inside the composable. Simple as that. Now we have to obtain the state which we have initialized inside the view model. So after we get this state, so we want directly to get the weather. Now after that, we can obtain, for example, the weather info. So because we have the current and the daily weather info, so we are going to obtain here daily weather info. And this one we can use the state. Now, after that, also the background color was something which has a gradient. So we have to create a variable that is going to be that of gradient color. So we are going to, so you can just copy these two colors, which we are going to use as our background color. Now, for that, we have to create our column, which is going to host all of our composables. And here we can provide the horizontal arrangement. Now, also here we can try to add a modifier. So we are going to add in here a modifier. Then we're going to specify a background color. And here we're going to use a brush. You can use a vertical gradient or anything which you wish. So for this case here, we can pass in our gradient colors, which we have provided here. So it's accept a list of these colors. So now we want here to specify or to display the UI when we have a set of states. So if we are loading, we're going to display a circular progress bar. So if successful, we display our result. And if we get an error, we have to display an error. So to do this, we are going to use the when statement to specify. So now we can write here when. So we are going to use this state here because we have a state of weather. So we can come inside here. So we can specify when this is going to be, because if it is loading, and also here we have the state, if it is successfully, and also if is error. So now we have here different states. So let's deal first. If we are loading here, we want to show a circular progress bar. Now for this case here, we can now display a circular progress bar. So we want to align this to the center in order to show us. So this one is going to be aligned by default to the top edge. So we want to align this to the center. So we can just give this arrangement center. And here it will be arranged at the center of the composable. Now, after that, here we want to display an error. So for our case, we are just going to log here the error. So here we are going to display the error. So we can use the state. Well, we did get, so we only have here data. So we can come here, we forgot here to make this variable val so that we can access it otherwise. So it's not going to be accessible. So you have to change this here to the message and add this val keyword here. So after that, here we have to pass in the message because we are going to pass in the error and we can display it here. So if you want to display, for example, and let the user know that there is an error has occurred, so you can just do that here. Now, after that, we have to focus on the success part. So let's create here other composables, which are going to be helper composables to display the current weather and also displaying the daily weather. Let's do this right now. Okay, now let's create here composables. And for this case here, now we can use a card. And here we can pass in the modifier. So we want this to be transparent so that it can reflect the background color, which has been provided by the composable, which is holding this current card. Now, after that, we have created our background color. Now we can create a column that is going to arrange our text. So we can pass in here the horizontal arrangement. And because we have already formatted the time, so we are just getting a string format of that time. Now, after that, we can create here a row. And also we can center this. And after that, we can add here modifier to provide padding. Okay, now let's create here a column, another column, because you're going to display this in a row. So you want to also to display this text in a current format. So for that case, you can create here first text. And this one is going to be for temperature. So we can just easily access this. And also here we have to pass in the degree, and you can use this by using this sequence, escaping sequence format. So you just write here U00 P0C. So this one is going to provide that degree format. So here we are escaping this, and this one is going to provide that, and here's going to be Seychelles. So for that, we have created our text. Now also we can add in here a spacer so that we can space this. And for here, for our case, we are adding 4dp. And here we can use the current weather, and we can key in our status. So for that case, we have finished creating the weather status. Now we have to duplicate this. And here we can add a spacer. And here we have the space of 8dp. Now, here also you want to find the wind direction. And here you want to find the wind speed. And this one is going to be double, so we are going to convert this to string, and also we can add this kilometer per hour because this one is displayed inside the website there. So after we have displayed here our column and text, and also here we can provide the B2B2 space, and here we can add 8dp. Now we have finished creating our first card here. Now let's create the second card. This one is going to be the card of daily. So when we have daily weather card. Okay, now let's create here our daily weather information card. And for this purpose, we are just going to reuse this. So we're just going to copy this and change a little bit. So you can just press here Control D and it's going to duplicate this card here. Now what we want to do here is change this one to global daily weather card. And for that case here, we are going to pass in daily weather info. And also we all need this, so we are just going to paste this inside here. And also we can just copy this and paste them inside here, and we can delete all of these. And we don't want to align this to the center, so we're just going to pass in here modifier and pass in a padding of 4DT. Now, after that, now we can start to customize here, because here also we want this time to be centered there. So we are going to pass in here modifier, and we are going to pass in a modifier to fill max size. And we are going to align this to the center. And here now we can use our daily weather info and pass in the time. And here we are going to pass in the temperature. So for our case here, we want to pass in daily weather information. And here we want to pass in the temperature minimum, maximum. And after that, we can just copy all of these. So we are going to pass in the maximum, and here we are passing the temperature minimum. And here we can pass in our daily weather info and pass in the status, and here pass. Now here our weather card is just complete. What has remained here is just creating now a place where we can just reuse this. So let's jump inside here now. You said the home screen now on success. Here we can start now to utilize all of this. Okay, now let's. So we get here our current weather, and for that we can use the let method here. And here we can call our current weather. So we have just to annotate this with nullable. So we can call our current weather card here, and we can pass in here it. So that when this one is going to be null, we are just not going to display this with a current weather card. Now, after that, we can come here to display our lazy. So what we want to do is using the lazy vertical grid. And inside here for the cells, we can use grid cells. So there are different ways which you can use here. We are going to use a fixed. So if you want to adaptive or fixed, so I'm going just to use fixed. And we are going to have at most 2 amount of these. And here we have the variable which is called daily weather info. And for that purpose, we can just rename this to let's try and rerun our application and see if you're going to get any error. So our app is launched and we're getting this hello 100 here because we have forgot to change that inside the main activity. So we are using that template which we are given. So we can navigate here to main activity and call in here our composable. So we can call our daily home screen. So if we want again, we can rebuild and see what's the output we get. So now our app is launched and we have seen here has been changing here and we have here our data. So we have got our application, but if you look here, this one, they are not showing transparency. I think we have forgotten to just add that opacity. So we can come here to daily weather and we have been adding here to 1F. So we want this to be 0.1F. and go to an F, and here we want it to be 0.1 F. Let's try and run again. Now our app is launched, and as you can see here, we have obtained that opacity. So for now, let's leave it here. See you in the next video.